I'm gonna invite you to start sitting up nice and tall, some way that you're comfortable. And connecting with your breath. And when I say that, what I'm inviting you to do is to become aware of your breath and its movement through your body. And as we do that, checking in with how does my body feel? Where is my mind at today? And then setting your intention. How do you want to feel at the end of our practice today? How do you want to feel throughout your day today? And then once you set your intention, you might bring your hands to your heart center, state your intention, so you're sealing it at your heart, bowing the head to the heart. And then relaxing your hands, and with your breath, and I'm not trying to rush you from setting your intentions. When you're ready, you're gonna inhale those shoulders up and exhale, slide them down your back. So really exaggerate this movement. We're trying to get those shoulder blades on the back to move. So it's not just the shoulders, but we're really trying to see if we can get that gliding on the shoulder blades, movement through the shoulders. And eventually we're going to pause, and then we're going to go the other way. So inhaling, shoulders up, and again, exaggerating, like you're trying to separate your shoulder blades on your back body. It's almost like a swimming motion, right? And you're breathing as you move. And then pausing again. And we're going to drop the left ear towards the left shoulder. And I want you to take your hand and gently massage the side of the neck. And so we have these long, skinny muscles here, the scalenes, and you're just kind of checking in. Notice where it feels soft or tight, or notice where there's sensation when you run your fingers up and down. Now, very gently, you can relax the hand. We're going to drop the chin towards the chest. So your head is still over to the left side, and then you're pivoting the chin towards the chest. Now you're going to take that hand again. You're going to move it a little bit further back on the neck. And again, explore, massage. I'm noticing some interesting things. I'm wondering what you're all noticing. And again, eventually we're going to relax the hand, pivot the head back up, back to the side, and then inhale it up. And when you're ready, exhaling to the second side. And again, at first, you're just dropping the right ear towards the shoulder, noticing how it feels. And then whenever you're ready, exploring. And like immediately as I start to touch with my fingers, it feels differently than the first side. And that may or may not be the case with you. And you're just breathing as you explore. Now, again, we're going to pause with the hand and then tilt the chin towards the chest. And again, when you're ready, taking the fingers back a little bit further. And so as we do these, especially when we're working with the head and the neck, you know, never forcing anything, noticing if there's pain, you stop immediately. You don't force the head to move in any particular way. And again, we're going to pause with the hand, tilt the head up, and then back to center. Whew. That was now I'm going to invite you to bring your chin towards your chest. And now we're going to use both hands, and you're going to explore the back of the neck and the base of your skull. So it's the occiput, right? Like where the skull kind of ends at the top of the neck. I want you to, again, take your fingers and explore in there. Keep breathing. And if this feels good, this might be something you do when you wake up in the morning or before you go to bed at night. So again, we're gonna pause with the hands, gently lift your head up, take a moment to notice how you feel. And then we're gonna roll the shoulders one more time. So there was a lot happening there for me. Okay, so from here, we're going to take our tennis balls. We're gonna give our neck a break for a little bit. So you're gonna take those tennis balls and bring them in front. So your butt stays on the ground. You're gonna bring them in front of your pelvis or sit bones and gently start to move front to back or side to side. We had a week off, so hopefully you were all doing something. Work together. Now, eventually, we're going to take those tennis balls and move them out a little bit. Continue to breathe. And just like when we were massaging the neck, you're noticing what you feel. Eventually, moving them out a little bit more. And you don't have to move them out when I say so, because you're doing what feels good for your body. Now, eventually, after you work your way through the sides of your hips, we're gonna bring the tennis balls to the back of the body. And as I look around, everybody has their tennis balls in a different place, which is great. But whenever you're ready, we're going to bring the tennis balls to the low back. And again, moving side to side or front to back. Noticing sensations, noticing your breath. Now, since we're working with the tennis balls, before we come up, and you have choice here, you always have choice. We're going to either continue to work the tennis balls on your sit bones around the hips, or you might come down onto your back. And you take your tennis balls and watch out if you have hair, move that out of the way. And then you're going to put them at the top of the shoulders. And then you're going to work your body into the tennis balls in some way that feels comfortable. And if this doesn't feel comfortable for you, you might take one tennis ball and make your way to the wall and do this part of the body with the one tennis ball. You're going to keep breathing. Now, as we relax here on those tennis balls, and one thing about the tennis balls, we always want to be where there is structure. So don't go below the rib cage. You want to stay where there is bone, right? Now, but we keep the tennis balls on the muscles, not bone. We're going to inhale those arms up to a place that's comfortable and exhale and back down to the sides of the body. Inhale, arms up. And exhale down. And like where I have my tennis balls located, I cannot bring my arms all the way up overhead. So notice if that's the case for you. Might readjust where your tennis balls are. Now we're going to take one arm up and turn the head away from that arm. On the inhale, exhale, arm down, head back to center, and we're going to alternate sides. Inhale, arm up, and head turns away from the arm. Exhale, back to center. And you know what? If it doesn't feel good with the tennis balls, just do this part of our practice without the tennis balls, right? Because the idea is not to create any discomfort. Keep moving with your breath. One more time on each side. And then we're going to pause for a moment. And if possible, you're going to explore, and only if this feels okay, you're going to take your tennis balls and put them at the base of the skull. when I'm at home, sometimes I put a sock around the tennis balls and place them here, because they don't stay very well without a sock around. But you're gonna do that, and you might hold it with your hands for just a moment. You're gonna keep breathing. And obviously, like with everything that we do, if it hurts, you're gonna stop. Then we're going to eventually take those tennis balls out and put them off to the side. And extend the arms out to the side like a T. Your knees are bent and the feet are about hip distance apart. Inhale is going to be head and knees pointing up towards the sky. Exhale, knees in one direction, head in the opposite direction. Inhale back to the center. And then exhale, alternate second side. And I love this particular series of poses because it helps us to move the entire spine, right? The muscles, bone, energy around the spine. And you're moving with your breath. Now, next time you finish your second side, we're going to come into the center, pause for a moment, and then you're going to bring your right knee towards your chest and hold on to it if that works for your body. And you might just hold it, you might take it in a circular motion. If you do circles, you might want to make sure that you go in both directions with your circles. Now, eventually we'll come to a place where we stop moving the leg. We're going to straighten that leg out and see if we can get it to be perpendicular. And we're going to interlace the fingers or place your hand someplace on the back of the thigh, on the hamstrings. So inhale is going to be with that leg straight. Exhale, you're going to bring the knee in towards the chest. Just that one leg. Inhale, straighten, and press up with that flex foot towards the ceiling. Exhale, in towards your chest. Still breathing as you move. One more time. And when that knee comes in towards your chest, after you exhale, we're going to place that foot on the floor. And in your time, bring that left knee in towards the body. And again, we're going to hold on to it. Or you're going to take it in circles in both directions. And it's nice to start out like this because it gives us information about how our body wants to move today. Now, again, eventually we're going to pause and straighten the left leg, interlace, or place your hands on the back of the thigh, flex that foot. Notice as you flex the foot how it feels. Inhale is here with the straight leg. Exhale, knee in towards your chest. Inhale, extend. Exhale, pull it in. Moving with your breath, noticing sensation. And for sometimes when we do this pose, people say, oh, this is really easy. And maybe it is, but there's a lot going on. So again, next time your knee is bent, we're going to release it, gently bring it down to the floor, and then you're gonna roll yourself over and sit on up. How's everybody doing? All right, so I want to do a little lion pose. So we haven't done a lion pose in a long, long time. And so the way we're going to start off nice and easy. You're going to sit in whatever way is comfortable. So traditionally, people will kneel in this pose. And if you're kneeling, you might have a block or a blanket underneath your bottom. You can also sit cross-legged or have your legs extended out in front. I have a block under my bottom. You're going to have your hands on your thighs. Inhale, we're going to be here in our hero pose. Exhale, you're gonna open your mouth, bulge your eyes to the best of your ability, and stick out your tongue. Okay, so inhale, and you might make noise. 2 more times. Feels good. Now I want you to take your index finger and your middle finger, and you're going to bring one to your mouth and one to your cheekbones, and you're going to go up towards over your ears. So mouth, cheekbones up, and you're pressing in. There's a little bit of pressure, and then, so that was a few times. Then you're going to go down above the lips, same thing. So you're kind of stretching your skin, you're massaging the muscles a little bit. And then we're going to go above and below the eyes. So cheekbones and eyebrows. And again, we're still sweeping above the ear. You asked for it. And this is actually really good for you, right? Now, the next thing you're going to do, the middle 3 fingers, actually, I'm going to use my pinkies too. So all 4 fingers, you're going to kind of go around your hairline if you have hair. And I'm not saying anyone in particular. A lot of people shave their heads. And you're going to sweep up. Then when you're done with that, not that I want to mess anybody's hairdos, you're gonna just gently massage your scalp, kind of like you're washing your hair using the pads of your fingers. So this is a wonderful energizer and a way to like wake you up. So sometimes I like to notice how I feel before I do this. Like if I've been writing lately, and when I need to be really focused, I'll do this just to kind of wake me up. And then when you're ready, yeah, take a nice big breath. We are going to make our way into standing. And I think I'm going to have to adjust my camera. All right. And if you'd like to have blocks at the front of your mat for lunges, go ahead and place them there. All right. This is a practice for people with and without hair.
Glad I'm not excluded.
Okay, so let's start with your hands at your sides. And one more time, like we did earlier, you just kind of inhale those shoulders up and slide them down the back. And then the inhale is going to be taking those arms up in line with the ears. Exhale, hands come down. And we're going to do that a couple of times. And you might come up onto your toes, or you might keep your feet flat. Again, lifting the energy up, noticing how the body's feeling. Great. Now, this next time, you're going to keep your feet flat. We're going to inhale those arms up and then gently move side to side. So you're like you're climbing a ladder or reaching towards the sky. And we're going to pause there, and on an inhale, we'll take the arms up, exhale, slide down into your forward bend. And we're going to inhale halfway up and exhale in towards your legs. And we're going to do that, let's say, one more time. And then when you're in deeply towards your legs, hands on the floor on your blocks, we're going to step back with your right foot. So some options here, you could have that knee down as long as it's behind your hip where you can keep it up. And you're going to engage your legs, pulling in towards the center, hands onto your thigh. You want to make sure that front knee is over your ankle. And we're going to reach those arms up towards the sky, if that's appropriate for your back. And we're just going to alternate the arms. So your inhale will be here, exhale, one arm forward, one arm back. Inhale, arms up, opposite arms. Moving slowly with your breath. And again, you could have that back knee down. You could also have your back foot flat. Now, next time your arms are up towards the sky, we're going to exhale, hands down to the ground. And you're going to step that back foot forward. And then bring your left foot back. So remember, feet hip width apart, front knee over the ankle. Find your balance, isometrically pulling towards the center, hands onto your thigh at first. You're checking in, how does it feel? You're breathing. And then possibly reaching those arms up towards the sky. And in your own time, moving with your breath. Inhale, both arms towards the sky. Exhale, one arm forward, one arm back. Inhale back towards the sky. Alternate. I'm doing great at this. Keep breathing. Move. If it feels good. So next time your arms come towards the sky, we're going to inhale up here. Exhale, hands down, and we're going to step back into a plank. And again, knees can be up or down, making sure you're comfortable. We're going to breathe and pause here for a moment. And then when you're ready, you're going to bend your knees and slide back. Pedal through your feet. So option here, if it doesn't work for your hands, is to be on your forearms. Or again, to be in your little tabletop. All right. Now, very gently, I want you to bring your knees towards the ground. And some of you might like a little blanket here or to fold your mat. So we're going to be in the tabletop with our hands slightly in front of our shoulders. You're going to engage those lower abdominals. Our inhale is going to be here in tabletop, exhale down towards child's pose, or you can do like a little puppy pose where your head comes towards the floor. You're going to do what feels good in your body. Inhale is up, exhale is down. Now, in your own time, you might stay here doing this, or on the inhale, you might come forward and bring your hips towards the floor, and exhale back towards child's pose or puppy pose. So you kind of are exploring in how your body wants to move in this moment. Remembering that yoga, in my world, is meant to be healing and never hurtful. Okay, this is going to be our last one. So eventually we're going to meet in our tabletop and then gently turn your toes under. We're going to slide back into a modified down dog with our knees bent. Notice how you're using your hands on the floor. And then we're going to lift the right leg up and sweep it forward into our lunge. Beautiful. We'll keep our hands on the ground. And especially the left hand, we're going to take the right hand up onto the thigh, add in a little twist. And you might even reach that right arm up towards the sky. Finding a comfortable place for your head. On an exhale, we're going to bring that hand down, turn your body back towards the floor. Find your weight in your hands as you step back with your right foot. And then reaching that left leg up towards the sky. And again, sweeping your left foot forward. Right hand stays on the ground, left hand onto your thigh. Gentle twist, belly towards the inner thigh. If appropriate for today, reach that left arm up. Keep breathing. So again, on your exhale, whenever you're ready, we're gonna bring that left hand down and step your right foot forward. And on an inhale, let's slide all the way up. Reach those arms up towards the sky. Let's interlace the fingers and press the palms up towards the ceiling. Keep breathing. And just for 2 breaths, let's bring the arms down. We're going to inhale, press up. Exhale, bring the arms down. And next time your arms come down, we're going to release your fingers and you're going to find a tennis ball. Just pop it out of the sky. I know we usually like start here, right? But it's a nice reprieve because I worked it a little bit. You're all still like your eyes are open, you're breathing, so it's a good sign. All right, let's switch feet if you haven't done so already. So eventually I want you to grab both tennis balls, and you can do this also with your feet flat on the ground. If you're using the tennis balls, you're going to have toes on the ground, heels on the tennis ball with a little bit of yellow protruding behind your heel, feet about hip width apart. And then the key here is to see if you can weight the heels and the toes evenly. So you're not putting all the pressure in the front or the back, right? Feet flat, feet. I'll breathe for a moment. Feet evenly weighted. Look down at your toes. We're going to take the big toes down, little toes up. Switch little toes down, big toes up. One more time. And if you're not evenly weighted, this will be really hard to do. And it might be really hard to do anyway. Okay, one more time, big toes up. And then relax. And so what we're looking for here is to have our toes, gently spread, front of the foot, back of the foot, evenly weighted, arms at your side. We're going to inhale, arms up, and exhale down into some level of a chair. Inhale up, exhale down. You might notice with the tennis balls, you can come a little bit more deeply. You're working with your core here, right? So make sure there's no discomfort in the low back. We're going to add in a twist now. So inhale is up, exhale, take one arm back, keep one arm forward, inhale up, alternate sides. And for those of you who might be watching, I'll turn side view. One more time on each side. And when you come up, we're going to relax the arms down. We're going to step off the tennis balls for just a moment. You can move one out of the way. We're going to use one for something else. Before we do that, I want you to take, let's see, your right arm forward, reach it up towards the sky, bend the elbow, hand towards your back body. You might use that other hand on your tricep or on your elbow, or it might just be enough of the stretch having your hand reach towards your back body. Okay, keep breathing. Now carefully release, and then we'll take the other arm forward, up, bend the elbow, hand towards the back body, and again, other hand on the tricep or elbow, or just walking your fingers down your back body. Keep breathing. And then we're going to gently release. Now, we're going to take the tennis ball under the right heel. And again, this can be done with your foot flat on the floor. And you're gonna come onto the left toes and pivot through that knee, hip, and foot. And then eventually we're gonna keep the knee pointing towards the left side and then bring that foot in to a comfortable place above or below the knee. Hands to your heart center or wherever it's safe, and possibly reaching those arms up towards the sky. Again, we're weighting that foot, heel and toe, entire foot. Breathe and focus. Keep breathing. Knee comes forward, foot comes down, hands to your heart center. We'll switch the tennis ball to your left foot. Again, yellow sticking up behind your heel, weighting your foot evenly, coming up onto the right toes, pivoting that leg. So when we're doing this, we're kind of noticing how that hip feels, and eventually keeping it pointing to the right, and then sliding your foot up to a comfortable place, hands to the heart center, and possibly taking them up towards the sky. Watch what's going on in your rib cage, so we don't want to stick the rib cage out while we're there. So paying attention to what's happening in your body. You could keep that foot on the floor. Breathe and focus. And again, we're going to bring the knee forward, foot down, hands to the heart center, and set that tennis ball off to the side. And then let's stand with our feet a little bit wider than the hips, maybe as wide as your mat or a little bit wider. And what I want you to do, hands, we're going to start with the hands just on the thighs, and you're going to bend and straighten, but we're not going like for our deepest bend ever. And then you're going to stretch that arm away from the bent knee. Keep breathing. Now, eventually, we're going to start to reach your arm overhead. Moving with your breath. This is feeling really good. I'm not wanting to stop this one, so just give me another, couple of breaths there. Okay. One more on your second side. Now I want you to find your block, and we're gonna place it between your thighs. So whenever you're done, feet are on the floor. And again, you can do this with a block or hold a towel or a blanket. We want something to help us press in towards the center. So you're squeezing that block with your thighs, right? Now you're gonna pretend, you know this one, like you're a Pez dispenser, and like you're gonna push that block. So you're taking your inner thighs and you're kind of squeezing and pushing back. Like you're trying to push the block behind you. And you're going to keep breathing. And it's okay if it doesn't move, right? You're engaging those muscles. And then we're going to pause for a moment, and then you're going to go the other way. So again, like you're taking those inner thighs now and you're pushing forward. And you're breathing. And then again, we're going to pause and bring those hands to the heart center, and you're still holding onto the block. We're going to inhale up, we're going to exhale into a chair position. Find your balance, and then you're going to explore lifting your heels off of the ground. So breathe and focus. Finding your balance. Oh, great. And then carefully taking your heels to the ground, relaxing your hands onto your legs, and sliding into a forward bend, possibly holding onto your elbows, gently moving side to side. Long, smooth breaths. And then releasing your hands, inhale and coming up. And you can gratefully get rid of the block. And I'm debating about this next one, doing it standing up or laying on our backs. So we're gonna try it standing up. And then if it doesn't work out, we're gonna make our way down to the ground. And you might have a wall close by. You're gonna have your weight in your right foot. You're gonna cross that left foot over the knee, hands to your heart center. So another option, you could cross over and have a hand on the wall or both hands on the wall. And then you're gonna start to sit like you're sitting into a chair. And then you might even start to reach your forearms towards your shin. Breathe and focus. Beautiful. Keep breathing, keep focusing. On one of these inhales, you're gonna make your way up, relax the foot. Release your arms. We're gonna inhale up, exhale into your forward bend. Inhale, slide up. And then we're gonna take the second side. So again, you're crossing over the ankle, that top foot is flexed, hands at the heart center. And then in your own time, possibly, you'll start to bend that standing leg as you set your bottom into an invisible chair. And then possibly reaching your forearms towards your shin. Continue to breathe and focus. Your head follows your body. And in your own time, when you're ready, inhaling up, relaxing your foot to the floor, releasing your arms. We're going to inhale, arms up towards the ceiling. And exhale, slide last time into your forward bend. And from here, in your forward bend, we're going to make our way down to the ground. So you might bend your knees and sit down. You're going to safely get yourself onto the ground. How are we doing? Too much? All right, so here, and normally if we had more time, I'd have you slide your backs up against the wall. So I'm gonna you're all on your honor. You're gonna keep your body upright, like you're pressing on the wall. So you're not sliding forward or back, okay? Hands are gonna be on your thighs. And you're gonna flex your feet and you're gonna lift up one leg. Maybe. And then bring it down, lift up the other leg. And notice your body might want to fall back as we do this. We're just gonna alternate legs and you're gonna keep breathing. And you might have the urge to push your hands into the floor or to drop your body back, but you're gonna keep breathing. Now, eventually, when you're done with your second side, you're gonna pause. We're gonna bend those knees and take them wide, comfortable wide, right? Inhale, arms up, exhale. You're gonna take a rounded forward bend, chin towards your chest. I like to hold my big toes here, but you can hold in whatever way feels good. And where we want to feel a stretch here is in the back body, right? Keep breathing. Then we're gonna inhale up. Now this one, you're gonna decide what's appropriate for you. So you're gonna inhale yourself up. You might have your hands behind you. You might be on your back body, or you might have your arms out to the sides, okay? We're going to explore lifting one foot up so that your lower leg is parallel with the floor, and then having the other leg join, and breathe and hold. So options, you could have your hands down, elbows laying on the back. You're gonna find you could hold on to your legs. You're finding that place that works for you. You're gonna keep breathing. So you should be able to say your name. So it's a nice little check-in. On an inhale, you're gonna extend the legs and the arms. Exhale over your legs. Inhale, sit on up. Exhale, slide back. And yes, you could do this with straight legs. We just want to always make sure that our eyes are in line with our toes. Inhale, extend. Exhale over your legs. Inhale, slide on up. And now we're going to make our way onto our back bodies. I know you're like, we're going to do that again? I see it in all your faces. So you're going to make your way onto your back. And let's see, everybody has a block. So I'm going to invite you to grab your block. And we're going to put it again between our knees this time. And your lower legs, just like in the last pose, are going to be parallel with the floor with your feet flexed. Arms are out to the sides. Inhale is going to be to the center with your legs. Exhale, you're going to reach your knees towards your hand. So there's a little bit of a torque in your body. Inhale, center. Exhale, knees towards the hand. And we're alternating sides. And with this one, you move as deeply as it feels good in your body. And if it doesn't work like this for you, you could have your feet on the floor. You can get rid of the block. So always, always making the pose work for you. Now, eventually, we're going to make our way to the center. And you're going to take the block out and hug those knees in towards your chest. And again, you might hold on to your knees or you might take them in a circle. We did this early on, one leg at a time. Now we're working with both. And so this would be the time that I want you to check in with your body and see if there's anything else that would feel really good in your body before we make our way into Shavasana. So you're exploring what would feel really good right now. And then when you're ready in your own time, making your way into a comfortable position for Shavasana, final relaxation, or corpse pose. And I know some people like to run out during this part of class, but it's so important to take the time to integrate all that we've done, mind, body, spirit, breath, energetically. So in your own time, start to bring this back to breath, to the body. Noticing how possibly remember beginning those slow, thoughtful movements to eventually bring your body into a seated position. I thought that we would do some bee breathing today. And so if you have glasses, you'll have to remove them. And the way that it works is you breathe in through your nose. We're going to be covering the eyes, ears, the mouth, and the nose. And you breathe in through your nose, so obviously you have to release that. And then breathe out. And you're going to hum. So you're removing, not that you can hear me while I'm talking, you're removing all of your senses, sight, sound, smell, and you're just letting that vibration on the exhale move through your whole body. And then when you're done with that exhale, you open up your nose, obviously. You need to leave it open while you're humming too. Take a nice big inhale and do it. We'll do this 3 times. And when you are done, you're going to leave your hands there for just a moment and kind of like take in how it felt, right? When we're covering up our senses, even if we're not totally removing them, it's intentional, right? And this is nice. We talked about working on our face today. And so we have all these sinuses, and that humming helps to move that. And it works all through that whole upper part of the body, in your neck, in your head, all around. So whenever you're done, you can release your hands. And just notice how it feels. It's again, just like scrubbing our scalp like we did, it's an awakening practice. So let's close with our 3 planetary healing sounds. So inhaling the arms up towards the sky, exhaling the sound cue to the heart. Inhaling, arms out to the side, palms open. Exhaling out to the heart. Inhaling, scooping up from the ground, exhaling. So I'm very excited to have people in person. So thank you all for coming. Namaste. Namaste.